Hey guys, how are we doing? So we're back on another video from Annie News. We're doing one of the characters from Fate Apocrypha. We're doing Frankenstein. Frankenstein was so cute. So weird. Strange. Understood creature of destruction. And she was just awesome. She had such cute moments, but she was devastating, man. She was powerful, and then she ended up doing stuff in later stuff whilst not being there. It's weird that he's doing these like as the show is happening. Well, that's what my understanding is. Whereas with the other ones, it's like knowledge throughout the whole series of what happens. But hey ho, let's get into this. Fate Apocrypha, Frankenstein.
So I didn't plan on doing either of the Berserker classes for a while, but you guys asked for it, so here she is.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised you guys didn't ask more for Astolfo since he did get voted Best Girl of Summer 2017.
Lol.
Anyway, before we get started, let me know who you think I should cover next in the comments below, or go vote in the poll in the community section. And I swear to God, if you guys say Astolfo, I'm just never gonna do a Fate video again. Now let's get into everything you need to know about the Berserker of Black, aka Frankenstein. As per usual, before talking about her as a character, let's first talk about the Berserker class in general.
Cool.
Just as there are 3 knight classes amongst the 7 servants, there are also 4 cavalry classes, and the heroic spirit of Berserk is one of them. It's a fairly straightforward class because the only requirement for being summoned as a Berserk class servant is to have gone Berserk at least once during a battle in their lifetime.
Right.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So being a Berserker means that you have the Mad Enhancement special ability, which essentially is a trade-off of sanity for power.
Yeah, like lose your mind, get
strength. People who are usually summoned as Berserkers are typically weaker in areas that the other servants excel in, like strength or agility. That's why the trade-off of their servant's consciousness for more power levels the playing field a little bit more. Of course, this comes at a price, and that being the large amount of magical energy that is required to control the Berserker's servant when it's in that Mad Enhancement state.
Damn, yeah, must be hard.
Also, depending on how much sanity is traded for power, can also remove a number of abilities from that servant, including Noble Phantasms.
Well, let's go.
Basically, if Mad Enhancement is used too much, then that servant may be unable to use their Noble Phantasm in the future, or the Master could run out of magical energy.
Right.
It's what you would define as a high-risk, high-reward type servant. Now, the Berserker of Black that we see in Fate Apocrypha is a bit unique because it's not often we get a character that's based on a novel.
Yeah, it's usually like an actual
mythology or ancient history, but this is the first time that I've seen a character based off of a purposefully written work of science fiction. Now, if you're over the age of, let's say,
written
14,
to intend
I'm
to
sure
be
you would know by now that
fictitious,
Frankenstein
not
is
like
based off
historical.
of Mary Shelley's novel published back in 1818.
God.
However, the Frankenstein that we see is a little bit different in appearance, because there obviously wasn't enough cute girls in this anime, and we definitely needed more, especially with the Astolfo thing. But aside from that, the fake version of Frankenstein involves Victor Frankenstein attempting to recreate Adam and Eve. So he first built Eve so that she could give birth to Adam. As we see in the flashback, he attempted to create Eve by having lightning give life to the corpse. But what was created instead was not Victor's vision of Eve, but rather this thing that had the mind of an infant. She had no emotion, no expression, or sense of the world, sort of like a broke college student. And after presenting Victor with the insides of a dog, she was disassembled and left for dead for being a useless shell of a human.
It's horrible.
However, while in pieces, she still lived, and was able to literally pull herself together. She traveled to the outside world and gained some sense of emotion, and finally felt 2 key things: anger towards the creator that left her, and respect for the one that made her. So she decided to find this man who she despised and admired so much in order to make him do one thing: create a partner. Finish the Adam that was meant to be made alongside her so that she wouldn't be alone.
Yeah.
While in one of her flashbacks, we got to see a little homage to those vintage movies with only text for dialogue.
Yeah.
But the entire statement was
black and white and just like...
It was meant to be, I never wanted to trouble you, but when you created me, you made me as only me. I am all alone, and it's painful. It's agonizing. It hurts. So please, just one more. Please, create one more of me. If anyone can, it is you.
So sad.
Please, give me a mate. This statement fell on deaf ears because all Victor could see was his failure to create Eve. So he kept running, and Frankenstein kept chasing. Eventually, this game of cat and mouse led to the events that resulted in Frankenstein's Berserk classification.
Right.
She
so
committed
mad.
to having this partner created no matter what the cost. So she decided to start killing everyone related to or even acquainted to Victor.
Damn.
But even through that, Victor still kept running until he had enough and even fled to the South Pole where he would die before creating another monster. So with no one left to chase, Frankenstein traveled as far north as she could, built herself a pyre, and set it ablaze while atop of it. It's quite the tragic story as usual, but I think there's something more appealing when discovering the intended fate version of the Frankenstein story. It definitely made me appreciate Frankenstein's character more after reading all of this. So Frankenstein, being this sentient thing that died with the regret of being alone and not having this partner, is reborn to fight in the Holy Grail War so that she could wish for the creation of that atom that was never there.
Yeah, sad.
Now one of the things you're probably wondering about her character is why she never talked. Well, that's because the mad enhancement ability that I mentioned earlier limits her ability to talk.
Oh, is that what it is?
Thus resulting in her having to use headshakes and grunts to communicate. In terms of her abilities, she's actually quite different from the other Berserker classes. I'm sure that you noticed that she was still able to effectively follow orders even while in the mad enhancement.
Yeah.
She also has increased agility in comparison to the other Berserkers, but what's more important here is her unique skill called Galvanism from her weapon that lets her gain back her magical energy very quickly. But since her magical energy is already from the collection of homunculi kept in the basement, it's pretty much a useless skill. When it comes down to it, even her noble phantasm isn't very useful. She has two. One called Bridal Chest, a maiden's chastity, and another called Blasted Tree, the lightning of crucifixion.
Blasted Tree.
Bridal Chest is her weapon, a giant mace that discharges electricity. Now this
weapon
has
powerful,
three components. The sphere at the top, which is basically her heart, the fin at the bottom, and the similar fins at the sides of her head. These three components act together to store and recycle magical energy through Frankenstein's body, providing her with basically a limitless amount of magic in a fight, especially when facing other mages or servants that use a lot of magic attacks. Now for the second part of her noble phantasm, I'm going to be talking about episode 10 from the show, so there will be spoilers from that episode.
Cool.
And if you saw that episode, then you got to witness a pretty great noble phantasm in action.
Yep.
The lightning tree of crucifixion is basically a suicide attack.
Yeah, it is. You use it, you die.
Plants her weapon into the ground, and her heart opens to release all the magical energy that is stored inside of it in the form of an AoE attack. There's really no need for me to explain it, so I'll just let you watch it.
Bam. So freaking cool. I watched the dub. The dub wasn't bad. Sexy. Oh, yeah.
And that's Frankenstein. It's a shame that we don't get to see more into each of the servants. All their backstories are a lot more intricate.
There's too many people to go too in depth with them, isn't there?
It's nice to see a creative twist on the stories of these historical figures. That's probably one of the most appealing aspects of the show. So if you want to know more about each of these characters, then let me know in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this type of anime content, then you already know what to do. So until next time, ciao.
Ciao.
Go vote in the poll, but not for Astolfo.
Because it's a trap. Yeah, it's like interesting stuff going on with all the characters, but there's just so many. It's like at least with like Zero and Unlimited Blade Works, when you've got like a smaller number, it's easier to go in depth, a little bit more in depth with it all. Still liked Apocrypha though, don't get me wrong, but Zero and Unlimited Blade Works is it's at. Although the trailer dropped the other day for Lord Malloy the Second's Case Files. We've had episode 0 for a while now on Crunchyroll, and it looks like it's starting in July, which I'm excited for because that's like in between Zero and Unlimited Blade Works, following is it Wave of Violet? Is that his name? Like as he's older, 10 years after Zero, but just before Unlimited Blade Works. I'm like, oh, I think that's gonna be that's gonna be cool. But anyway, thanks thank you guys very much for watching. What did you guys think of that? I love Frankenstein. She's just so cute. Just like, crazy monster. Feel so sorry. But anyway, yeah. Thank you guys for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like. Subscribe if you have not already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos. And I'll see you guys. Yes, all you guys. Next time. Bye.